Hey guys, welcome to my channel Kylink. I was going to do a regular unboxing of this Quest 3, but I thought that's already been done so many times, so why not talk more freely about VR and AR in general, because these technologies are really interesting, and I, along with many others, have been having some existential feelings about it, especially in relation to AI, so let's explore if those feelings are warranted. Coming from a time when this was cutting edge gaming to having a Quest 3 is a pretty surreal change to me. To illustrate how far we've come and give greater context to the changes we face, let's look at photography for example, then I'll loop it back to VR. Photos of my grandparents, or even this one of my great-great-great-great-grandmother, which is obviously particularly old, are mostly in black and white, and they've faded over time, which makes them feel as distant in the past as they really are. Photos of my parents have similarly faded, but not as much, and generally they're in color, although not always, but I know my parents well and I've been close to them throughout my life, so seeing them in color feels fitting. It's like a subtle nod to the fact that they're close to me, but these photos were still taken before my time. Photos of me when I was a kid have also faded to some extent, but generally it was easier to take better pictures at the time, and they're noticeably clearer with more accurate colors, so it reminds me that I was there for those moments. I remember them. Yet my memories of those moments have faded alongside those photos as time has passed. So fast forward to the present moment when photos and videos can be taken easily with great clarity on a phone. They look accurate, often even enhanced compared to reality with mixed reality and things like that, and they will never fade. Granted, the quality of the photos you take could be limited depending on the phone that you got, but you can see how the progression of these technologies has this almost poetic feeling way of accentuating our relationships with the past, present, and the future. So that brings me back to VR, AR, and AI. As the way we capture images and videos of reality has evolved, we've also seen technologies like gaming do a better and better job of mimicking reality, as well as enhancing it and mixing it with the digital world. So as time goes on, what does that mean not only for our relationships with our memories, but also our relationships with reality itself? These are important questions to ask because the future keeps on becoming the present, and presently you can already capture footage using a VR headset like the Apple Vision Pro or even the Quest 3 and go back and relive that moment with depth perception in VR, which is very different from what we've done before. It's even currently possible with VR to visit a 3D model of someone who's passed away and talk to an AI representation of their personality for closure. We don't know how convincing simulations like this will get, but we do know that the more convincing they get, the more the lines between reality and simulation blur for people psychologically. If you've already spent some time thinking about this, you may have connected the dots and assumed that I'm suggesting simulation theory, which is actually not my intention, but we have seen some incredible advancements, and while they've come around gradually, it feels like they happened in the blink of an eye, so that begs the question, next time I blink, so to speak, what will I see when I open my eyes? Well, maybe I won't have to open my eyes. Maybe I can just keep them closed and go internally to my Neuralink and explore a world that looks just like this or anywhere really, and talk to AI-driven characters and live my digital life. But let's not get too speculative. Instead, let's just talk about what we already know will happen in the very near future, and let's try to imagine vividly what that will be like, and try to think of your own version of that too, and leave a comment at the end, because I want to read it and see what everybody else thinks is going to happen or what it might lead to. So at MetaConnect 2024, Mark Zuckerberg unveiled the Orion glasses, which are augmented reality glasses. We already have augmented reality, but these will make it a part of our daily lives if they catch on in the way that he intends. He'll be releasing them in 2027 at a price point around the same as a phone or a laptop, with a cheaper model also available, making it more accessible for the general public. So these glasses will have AI embedded in them, as well as cameras allowing that AI to see everything that you see, which already exists in their Ray-Ban models, which you could buy today for a couple $100s. The difference with the Orions is that they also project holograms in front of you. So there's some pretty cool things you could do with glasses like these, but there's also some pretty terrifying possibilities, as was demonstrated by these students from Harvard. Using only AI and a camera, they were able to make this pair of glasses that just by looking at someone's face would show you that person's personal information on your phone, including their address. Now, these were made for demonstration purposes only, and I don't think this is a feature that Meta is about to unveil for their glasses, but this is why regulations on technologies like this will be very important. And I would love to see other companies making some competition for Meta in this market as well. You know, maybe some companies that aren't arguably primarily known for stealing our information, because I'm not a huge fan of everything to do with Zuckerberg's vision, but at the same time, I don't hate it completely either, so let's talk about both sides of that. So on the one hand, being able to be educated about something just by looking at it and then asking into thin air your AI and getting an answer projected in front of you as a hologram is an amazing tool. The example I always think of is if I saw a tree that I didn't know what kind of tree it was, I could just ask and it would tell me, or a bird, if I didn't know what kind of bird it was, I could just ask, and it might be able to also give me additional information about that thing. I feel like the convenience of this will have me learning a lot more stuff than I do with my phone. And if you don't want to talk to your glasses in public, you can also do a lot of things just using a wristband that you'll wear and swiping with your thumb. Another thing I like about Mark Zuckerberg is his emphasis on continuing to engage in the physical world no matter how digital it gets. So I know he trains MMA and does some wakeboarding, but I love the idea of jogging on a path and seeing like a digital path overlaid on top of it, and then you could have like digital hurdles or something like that and points that you could score while you're out just running in nature. I can also imagine giving the device information about my diet and fitness level, and since it would have a read of my pulse in real time through the wristband, the AI could encourage me to get the most out of my workout by telling me when to increase the intensity or when it's time to wind down. And when I get home, it could tell me what kind of snacks to eat, or maybe not snacks, but like how to reach my macros and that kind of thing. And it could probably help people to get the amount of nutrition that they need. Like it might say something like, "Hey Brandon, you haven't had enough vitamin C lately. Why don't you eat a tangerine?" So in these ways, I think these kinds of glasses could help us to become better versions of ourselves in the future. But I'm a little bit disappointed that instead what we got more of an emphasis on during MetaConnect is the ability to make better versions of ourselves that aren't us. One of the features that they focused on the most is that we will have realistic looking avatars of ourselves. So if someone gives me a call and they're in China, I could see a hologram of them projected right in front of me, which would show their facial expressions, and if they're speaking another language, it would translate that to my language in real time, and overall make me feel more present with that person. Where it gets weird is the ability to now also have an AI representation of your personality do the talking for you through that avatar. The way that he's framing this is that it's for content creators. So because you have so many different people watching your thing that you do and wanting to ask you questions and engage with you, but you don't have the time to respond to them all, they could talk to your AI personality instead, which you've programmed and hopefully says things that you want it to say. And that way you could reach more of your fans and they could engage with you, but it wouldn't really be you. So on the one hand, for certain content creators or small businesses, you might have a lot of frequently asked questions and you would no longer have to answer them, which would be great, and it would free you up time to run your business. On the other hand, most content creators don't really need to respond to all of these people, yet we're all going to feel pressure to create one of these just to stay ahead of the curve. And the other thing is, if you have the ability to train this to be like you, wouldn't it be tempting to train it to be like only the best parts of you? And then maybe you could even enhance that a little bit. I mean, to me, it's very easy to imagine a celebrity creating an AI of themselves that then does all of the work for them, and then behind the scenes, that celebrity falls into a drug problem or basically just leaves life behind, and all of these fans are interacting with an idealized version of them that's not even real. It's not even their best moments. It's just someone who doesn't even exist, and meanwhile this person is falling apart in the background. As for whether or not these existential feelings are warranted, I think they are, because these glasses will make the real world feel a bit more like a computer. So while I did say that perpetuating simulation theory is not my intention, it's still hard for it not to cross people's minds, and I think that makes sense. Whether this has to be an existential crisis or not, though, is up to us. I think maybe it could just be an existential reframing of how we engage with these technologies and what they end up being used for. Okay, fine, it's a crisis. This is insane. I don't know what we're going to do next as a species, as humanity. This is insane. If you guys want to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, I'd love to continue this conversation with all of you as this whole thing unfolds. I love this kind of topic, so I would love to expand on it more in the future. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.